Hey guys, it's Todd from Like-Minded Lunatics bringing you another Drink, Play, Swear. What? It's all we do around here. I mean, besides overanalyzing our life mistakes, it's all we really spend a significant of time doing around here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Drink, Play, Swear. Welcome back to Like-Minded Lunatics. You're home if you feel like you're home, and you're part of the family if you feel like you're part of the family. If you haven't done so yet already, bang, hit that subscribe button. Show us that you're part of the family. This family of like-minded weirdos, degenerates, and runaways, ne'er-do-wells, bastards, can I say? Technically, I am one, so I feel like that's okay to say. Then, yeah, if you feel like you're one of us, then you are. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Drink, Play, Swear. You know, Like-Minded Lunatics is not just Drink, Play, Swear. No, it's not. My buddy Mark Gifford, I talk a lot about the Friday night videos, but the Monday video matchups are excellent as well. Could you go check out that playlist if you haven't done so already? Some really thoughtful comparisons. And it's just like the Friday night videos in the fact that some of them are all rock and roll and just loud nuts, and he's chugging beers in overalls, and other times, man, really contemplative. I mean, looking at a piece and then comparing it to a piece of poetry, or treating it as serious as a lover of literature, looking at the lyrics as poetry. So check out the Monday video matchups. I hope you'll do it. Okay. So, what are we doing today on Drink, Play, Swear? Well, first you should know that Drink, Play, Swear is exactly what it sounds like, okay? We play a game, usually a classic one, pair it with a beverage, and I tell you a story. What are we playing today, you ask? Well, you might be interested to know that a year ago, 1 year ago, I played the original Castlevania on one of the very first Drink, Play, Swears a year ago. And I didn't beat the game. Frankly, I haven't beaten a game on this channel. It's not the goal here. The goal is to have a good time with you, tell a story, and chug a beverage. Okay, that's the real goal. The gaming, just like when you get together with your friends, the gaming is sort of the reason you get together, but it's in the background. But I love Castlevania, and I have a dream of finishing Castlevania on screen with you someday. So I thought today we would continue the original Castlevania. I got all kinds of Castlevania games I want to play with you guys. And now I have played some Castlevania games with you in the past. The original a year ago, like I said, but also we did Castlevania 3 for the NES. We did that one. And then we also did for the Sega Genesis, Castlevania Bloodlines. Before I get talking too much more and we start playing Castlevania, I am going to have some of my beverage because I'm parched. What do I have here today? Well, just like we played 1 year ago in November, after Thanksgiving and before Christmas, playing Castlevania the first time around, I had a Jim Beam Coke. Get yourself something. I think at this point, I'm like almost all affectation. There is no legit part of me left. I'm all blessed up. You've heard me say that before. So we're going to continue Castlevania today. And it might not happen today. It might not happen tomorrow. But one day, I'm going to get to Castlevania, the end. Oops. I'm going to get to the end of this game. Yes, let's play the game. I'm ready. I have to hit pause, Todd. Okay. I got us up to stage 8 again, because last time we played a year ago, I got to stage 8 and I kept dying somewhere around... Oh, I'm hitting the wrong button. There's only 2, Todd. The goofy thing is I'm playing on the Switch, not on my original Nintendo console, and so it's kind of a different experience. I know, you're saying, Todd, don't blame the controller. Just be better. Oh, I changed my weapon. I really wanted that holy water. I intentionally kept the holy water. That's fine. I can do this without the holy water. Love Castlevania. Love all these games. And I do intend to beat Dracula on camera on a future Drink, Play, Swear, continuing this game until we get there. I don't know when it'll happen. Maybe next year, maybe the year after. But I'm going to do it. And I promise it won't turn into like a Lenny Bruce type of situation where I forget that there's comedy that's supposed to be involved. I love Lenny Bruce. He was a genius comedian. He was a great guy. And he fought all kinds of censorship problems that many of my favorite musicians faced. But the guy forgot that he was an entertainer. I'm gonna try, well, if I can go be as bold as to say I'm an entertainer. Ooh, not doing so well here. Definitely not a professional game player. But I like to think of myself as a pretty good talker and a decent storyteller. dead. So, what are we talking about in the story today? Well, it actually is a lot about storytelling. If you're a fan of the channel or a friend of mine, you know that I love storytelling. And I love storytelling as something you do casually with friends, like we do on here. But I also love storytelling in terms of the craft, the art, and thinking about how a story comes together. Growing up, I was only interested in fiction, and only interested in capturing my imagination with things like Star Wars and Marvel and DC and Star Trek and things that are cosmic and beyond a boring real world. Man, I'm getting creamed already. This is not a good sign. These suicidal skeletons are going to cream me. But as I get older, I think about the beauty of nonfiction storytelling and about how you can take what happened and craft it. All right, now I'm definitely not going to beat these jokers, these mummies, because look at my health. But we'll do what we can. This isn't even the right guy. Do you see his health wasn't going down at all? What I like to do is hide in the corner. Look at that. Pathetic. All right, let me get started at least here with you. At least I got to stage 9. If I have to do part 3, I'm starting at stage 9, not 8. Progress. Here's to that. I've grown an appreciation for the idea of nonfiction storytelling, and for this weird idea of what people were studying around me that I didn't bother taking interest in at a young age in school. Creative nonfiction. What the hell's that supposed to mean? Creative nonfiction. Either it's fiction or it's not. Well, the thing is like what I try to do on this show, is it's not always about just conveying the information, right? It's about giving an experience. It's about playing with the facts, and not in a manipulative way in terms of mismanaging the ideas. It's about trying to have an effect that creates verisimilitude. And it got me thinking. I'm not trying to just speak big words for the sake of it. What do we mean when we say verisimilitude? All we mean is that we properly convey the emotional appeal of something through storytelling. So like when you hear a gun in a story, if you were telling a true story about when a gun went off, you wouldn't say, and then the gun went off, because that's very passive, right? So if you're trying to convey how you were feeling in the moment that the gun went off and you heard a gunshot, you would go, and then all of a sudden, bang, right? Because in the audience in that moment, see, you're creating the fear and panic of elements, the fear response that you had. That's verisimilitude. And that's what good storytelling can do, either fiction or nonfiction. Let me see if I can do it this time. I have a decent chance, but I got to get in this corner. I'd really like to get in the corner here. Smoke this dude. Watch, you can protect yourself from the snakes. The mummy, dude. Huh? The mummy? Come on, get over here. Take your whippins. What? 2 mummies. What movie? What classic monster movie was it? 2 mummies. I'm not sure. Oh, look, I'm gonna. Gosh, he won't come over here, see. Todd! Progress. Here's to that. Sorry, hit my hand on the table. Okay. I haven't even really gotten into story yet today, so now that I beat that boss, I'm going to take a little break for you, and a break as we reference the map here. Love this moment. Love a game with a map where you kind of know where you're going, even if it doesn't... Ooh, this is when the game gets hard. Stage 10 is when I think the game gets hard. Everyone's got their own ideas about that. What am I doing today? Well, I got to thinking that good storytelling is a lot like good joke telling. And if you like jokes, especially jokes that are sort of story-based, you start realizing that you can adapt them and change them to your own wants, to your own needs, and to make them more dramatic in the places that you think need drama. So today, I thought I would just tell you 3 jokes. We're joke telling today, but they're jokes that involve stories. So I thought that could be fun. 3 jokes today. The first one I want to tell you is a joke that I heard a number of years ago. Jimmy Stewart, famous actor Jimmy Stewart, was once asked, what a wonderful life and all that. He was asked what his favorite joke was, and he told this joke. I heard it and I liked it, but I felt like it needed some work. It needed some drama. So this is Jimmy Stewart's favorite joke done by me, and that is about a husband and a wife. Okay, so I'm going to try and play a little bit while I do this. A young married couple, and let's say in their late 20s. They just bought their first house together. They're settling in. They're in that stage of their marriage where they're talking about babies, but the idea is just a whisper, right? They're not there yet, but they love each other very much. They're creating a home. They've bought a home and they're furnishing it and having dreams about their lives together, starting in their careers, right? One Saturday morning, the husband and wife are sitting across the table from each other from the breakfast table, you see, and enjoying. I'm going into the drink. This level is an SOB, but I'm going to pretend it's not happening because I'm committed to telling these jokes. The husband's sitting there across from his wife and feels immense love for her, you see. Into the drink. Immense love for her. And feeling of pride that he found such a wonderful woman and that she could somehow love him. You know, he thought of himself as a simple man and not much to him, but she saw something in him. It was just beautiful. And he was... I have not played this stage 10 in a long time. I'm not going to give it any more. I'm not going to give it any more reference. I'm telling the joke. So they're sitting at the breakfast table. That's as far as I got. They're sitting at the breakfast table. He sees his wife. He loves his wife. But then all of a sudden he thinks, I'm not good enough for this woman, you see. And then he starts thinking, you know, if I die, it's going to be very easy for her to find someone else. And the idea that he was insignificant and that she was so grand and that she was so lovely and so beautiful and so smart and so talented that started filling him with resentment, anger, fear. And so he had to, because they had an honest relationship and they loved each other, he had to say out loud, honey, do you think, do you think if I died, you would find someone else? You would get remarried? She said, honey, here we are on beautiful Saturday morning, and beautiful weather outside, window coming in, the sun coming in through the window. I'm reading my paper, you're reading your comic strips, your funny papers. Why would you bring up something like this? It's ruining the morning. Frankly, I don't want to talk about it. Well, he accepts that because they were having a nice time, and he was going down some weird mental fear spiral, and so he got quiet about it, but it didn't go away in his mind, you see. It was in the back of his mind all that week. And the following Saturday, as they sat there eating their breakfast again, sipping on coffee and reading the newspaper, he found himself compelled to ask again, honey, I know... Yeah, I'm going to continue. I love this game. It's one of my favorite games. He is compelled again to ask her. He says, honey, I don't want to upset you, but I have to ask because it's on my mind and I want to be honest with you. Would you please answer my question that I asked you last week? If I died, would you find someone else? And she says, fine. I'll answer you, but I don't like it. Honey, I'm 28 years old, and do I imagine myself with anyone else in life? No, but if you passed away, I would have to find love and comfort in someone else eventually. Can you handle that? And he said yes, because he felt it. And he was somewhat relieved that she was honest and that they had an honest relationship and that they loved each other. But deep down, you see, he had growing resentment because he started picturing another man, what this man must look like. And all of a sudden, over this next week, you see, while he's going to work and everything, he starts thinking about it more and more, and he starts wondering about this guy, and then he starts thinking about what it would be like for this guy to be in her life. And so the following Saturday, the third Saturday, he feels compelled to talk one more time about this. He says, honey, I'm sure you're sick of talking about this, but it is all I can think about. You said you would remarry. She said, yes. I need to know a few things. She said, fine, but this is the last time I'm going to talk about this. He says, fine. He says, we bought this house together. Would you still live here after I was dead? She says, well, honey, it's a terrible, job to buy a house, mortgage, and going through the banks and everything. Like, yeah, I would stay. I love this house. He said, okay. Well, what about our bed? You know, we sleep there together. It's our marriage bed. You know, would you get rid of the bed, or would that man sleep in my bed? She said, honey, that bed, yes, it's our marriage bed, but that bed was my grandmother's bed, passed down. It's a very nice oak, and I'm sorry to say, she's getting a little frustrated. No, I would not get rid of a perfectly fine family heirloom because you were gone. Now he's starting to get angry. He says, please, if you're going to continue to do all the same things and live the same life as if I was never around, could you please just promise me that you will not let this man use my golf clubs? And she says, honey, is that what this is about? That's silly. I would never let another man use your golf clubs. Besides, he's left-handed. I like that joke because it's about anger and resentment. I also like that joke because the lefty wins, even though he's like a fictional character. I'm a left-handed guy in a right-handed world. Woot! Right through, you see that? That's the little tip right there. You don't stop and fight that guy. You slink from responsibility and you get moving. Look at this, stage 12. Let's pause for joke number 2. Joke number 2, I heard when I was in high school and I liked it, and it involves the NSA. Okay, the NSA is something like National Security Agency or something. It's one of these acronyms that's important to the United States government and security and deals in secrets, right? Like the CIA and the FBI and all of that. The NSA, considered a premium organization to work for. Okay. This joke involves the NSA, and it involves the interview process for a new NSA agent. Okay, so you picture for yourself here a room, and in this room there's a man behind a desk, and he is an agent at the NSA, and behind him are 3 doors, and they're conveniently marked door number 1, door number 2, and door number 3, as you might imagine as a setup for a joke. And beyond that man in the desk is 3 chairs. And at the 3 chairs are 3 candidates for the job, you see. And so the 3 candidates are all lined up there. And the room is very quiet. And the man behind the desk is just sitting there patiently, looking over a few materials. I didn't mean to pick that up. I keep getting the wrong items because I'm not paying attention. That's okay. I'm about to face Frankenstein's monster, and he's a real pain in the ass. So I'm probably not going to beat him today, but I at least made some progress in the game. For the purposes of the future. The service of the drink play swear futures. All right. So let me smoke this dude, and then I'm going to pause so I can lose at Frankenstein. Because I don't have enough health for him. Okay. They're all trying to get this NSA job, right? So the man behind the desk finally calls up the first applicant. And they're all in the same room together. They can hear what's happening. The first applicant is called up, and he comes and sits at the desk in a chair opposite the man. And he says, Mr. Dresden, you've applied for the NSA, and we're seriously considering you. We only have 1 position open, and there are 3 very good candidates. Looking over your materials, you're excellent, and you're perfect for the job. You find material. As a police chief for the city of Blunson, you have done an amazing job. You know, the crime rate has gone down 48%, and community happiness is up 973%, whatever you want to say. And by all accounts, you're a very talented man, and you'd be perfect for the position. The final test, though, before we would consider you for the NSA, is a loyalty test. And the applicant says, okay, what do you got? The guy opens a drawer, and he pulls out a gun, and he sets it on the desk. And he says, applicant number 1, Mr. Dresden, or whatever. Behind me is door number 1. There we have your wife. We need you to go in there, and as a loyalty test to the NSA, we need you to shoot and kill her. And then and only then will you get the position, and we won't even consider the other applicants if you're willing to do so. And the man just looks down with nothing else to say. So the successful police chief picks up the gun, and he slowly walks to door number 1. He opens the door and he closes it behind him. It's silent for quite a while. Applicant number 2 and number 3 eye each other a little bit, and then eventually, you see, applicant number 1 comes back out of door number 1, and he is shaking. And he says, I'm sorry, I couldn't do it. My wife and I have been married for 30 years. We have 3 children and 6 grandchildren, and we just can't do it. I don't think I'm a good candidate for the NSA. And he sets the gun down and he leaves. The agent looks down and jots down a few notes, and then, after a moment, he calls up the second applicant. The second applicant is timid, a young woman in her early 30s. And she sits down at the chair across from the man behind the desk. And he says, Mrs. Henderson, want to welcome you to the NSA. I'm really glad you're here and everything. You're a very talented applicant. You went were very successful in the Air Force, and then you went on to go to the CIA, and you've only been there a decade, but you've done wonderful things there, and all of your betters have said that you're very talented, and your letters of recommendation are stellar, and we really would be lucky to have you in the job, but we need to do a loyalty test, and so if you would, please take this gun, and he pushes the gun back over the desk, you see, and it says, take this gun into room number 2, and as you can imagine, behind room number 2, we have your husband, and we're going to need you, as a loyalty test to the NSA, we're going to need you to shoot and kill him. Well, she doesn't even go back there. She looks at the man and she says, listen, I heard what happened with the first guy. I just have to tell you, my husband and I love each other very much, and there is just no way that I am going to kill my husband. We were not able to have children, but we do have hopes to adopt someday, and honestly, a job at the NSA would be nothing without my husband. So without going into door number 2, she calls out for her husband to come out, and he comes out happily, and the two of them leave. And the door closes behind them, and not 3 seconds go by, but the third applicant jumps up and stands up to the desk and says, I get the idea. The first 2 turned it down. Behind door number 3, you've got my wife, and you want me to go in there and kill her as a loyalty test. And the man behind the desk says, well, yes. And the man says, great, fine. He takes the gun. He goes in there. Door slams behind him, and quickly all 6 rounds go off. Bang, bang, bang. Bang, bang, bang. Then a pause. And quiet. And then, all of a sudden, you hear all kinds of clamor. You hear glass breaking, furniture being smashed into the walls, screaming from both parties involved. And then silence again. Finally, the door swings open. And the man behind the desk says, what the hell happened in there? And the third applicant says, some idiot loaded this gun with blanks, so I had to fucking strangle her. All right. Ooh. I heard that one in high school. And it's always stuck with me. I played with the gender a little bit and have told it sometimes as a woman, sometimes as a man. I can't figure out the best way for that joke to work. And I'm dying against Frankenstein's monster again. But that is the second joke I have for you. Okay, so the third joke I have for you in this trio is actually a homebrew. It's a joke that my daughter made up. That's right. It's a joke my daughter made up when she was 3 years old. And so to tell this joke requires me to give you a little background first. So, when my daughter was 3, I took her to the movies. And I took her to see this movie called Home. Now, Home is an animated movie where this young woman, girl, she's 7 or 8, I believe, ends up meeting an alien, and they become fast friends. So the little girl is without her mom and without her family and scared and alone, and the alien is sort of an outcasty alien. His fellow aliens are trying to invade the Earth and take over, but this little alien isn't really well accepted with them, so he doesn't have any friends. So it's like a story of two outcasts. And this little girl and this alien are flying around in an alien ship, okay? And the little girl decides to share a joke with the alien. And she says, I have a joke for you. Well, the alien doesn't understand humor. He doesn't know what jokes are. So she's trying it out on him. She says, okay, it's a knock-knock joke. So sort of a call and response thing. I say something and then you say, and she teaches him the rules of a knock-knock joke. And so this is the joke from the movie. She says, knock, knock. Alien says, who's there? She says, interrupting cow. He says, interrupting cow. And before he can finish, she says, moo. Right. Well, he doesn't get it. He goes, you didn't let me finish. And she says, well, no, that's why it's funny, you see. Because I'm an interrupting cow. So before you could finish, I interrupt you. And the alien laughs, and he gets it. And he understands humor now, somehow. Well, the funny thing is about little kids is that, of course, little kids at 2 and 3 years old, they understand like slapsticks, like smash a guy in the face, get a frying pan to the brain, and that's hilarious. But they don't really understand anything beyond that, right? So my daughter saw that little interaction in the movie, and she was really interested in it, but didn't know quite what to do with it. So she asked me in the car on the way home. Oh, look at that. I can already tell I'm not going to beat Frankenstein's monster, and so we're going to be starting part 3 of this next year from level 10, which is fine with me, because all I want to do is tell you this joke. So on the way home from the movie, my daughter says, 3-year-old, she says, Dad, can we practice that joke from the movie? I said, sure. And she says, okay, I'll be the little girl, you be the alien, because I'm a little girl and you're weird. Okay, honey. So she says, knock, knock. I say, who's there? She says, interrupting cow. And I say, interrupting cow who? You see, I'm saying it slow so she can interrupt me, but she misses the point and doesn't do it right. So I finish interrupting cow who, and then she goes, moo. Well, honey, you got the words right, but your timing's a little off. So just sort of talk to her about timing. Comedic timing is a hard nuance for a 3-year-old, right? So we tried a couple more times that day, and she's sort of slowly getting better at it. Well, the next day, I find her in her bedroom alone, sitting on her bed, thinking, furrowed little brow, And she didn't do this very often. She still to this day doesn't. She likes to be with people. She likes to be talking with people and doing things. She loves reading, but in short bursts. But on this occasion, she was sitting in a room alone, and for an awfully long time for her. So I go in, and when you're a parent, it's like, if the kid is off by themselves too long, you're wondering, especially at that age, like, is there a bathroom situation I need to clean up and they're trying to hide? Like, what's happening? So I go back there to her room, and she's sitting on her bed, contemplating something. And I say, what's going on, honey? And she says, I'm writing a joke. I say, that's excellent. I love that you're creating something, and jokes are great. They make people happy. She says, well, can we try it? It's a knock-knock joke. I said, okay. She said, all right. Knock, knock. I say, who's there? She says, interrupting cat. I say, interrupting cat? Moo. You see, so she got the timing right, but she said the wrong sound for the animal. I was about to correct her and say, well, no, honey, the interrupting cat would say meow. But then as I thought about it for a few minutes, I thought, actually, this is funnier. For the interrupting cat to say moo is a funnier joke than the interrupting cat saying meow. So that's my trio of jokes for today. We did make progress. I vow next time on Castlevania, next November, to actually beat Frankenstein's monster. In between now and the next time I talk to you, thanks for being here for Castlevania Continued and a trio of bad jokes. We'll see you next time. And in between now and the next time I talk to you, I'm Todd. See ya.